Thank you for supporting all of us. Thank you for helping us tide through this pandemic. Deepak ji, thank you for staying on. मुझे लगा कि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया नॉर्मली बोलता है निकल जाता है, बट आप यहाँ पे हैं. आप तो हमारे दोस्त हो, इसीलिए बहुत सारे अच्छे अच्छे शब्द आपने कहा, बहुत तारीफ आपने की. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, आपका बहुत बहुत आभारी हूँ और उम्मीद करता हूँ कि आपका सपोर्ट ऐसे ही रहेगा और आगे जाकर भी आपका सहयोग ऐसे ही मिलता रहेगा. Mr. Ranganathan, and thank you, sir, for also staying on, the Southern Region's chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, today, in fact, as I've just mentioned, is the opportune time of the new team of CII in Telangana taking over from the past team. The baton is being, passed on to Vagish today. But incidentally also, today marks the second anniversary of the first COVID case in Telangana. Exactly on the 2nd of March in 2020, we had the first case in Telangana. So एकदम सही टाइम चुना आपने, समीर को बाहर भेज के आप नया चार्ज ले रहे हो. जब थोड़ा माहौल बेहतर है, वागिश इज अ स्मार्ट मैन, वी ऑल नो. इसीलिए जो बुरा वक्त था, थोड़ा मुश्किल वक्त था, तो समीर को दे दिया. बिकॉज समीर इज रिलेटेड टू पीयूष गोयल, एज यू नो. समीर गोयल इज रिलेटेड टू पीयूष गोयल. इसीलिए एक साल पूरा उनको दे दिया. अभी थोड़ा बेहतर हो गया तो वागिश आ गया आगे. And one thing I would like to say before in fact, I was just debating because I have this written speech, but then I saw Krishna speaking. He said, I speak from the heart and I'm not going to stick to my written speech, etc. So I am also inspired. Krishna, I'm taking a leaf out of your book. I'm also going to be talking, possibly without looking at the paper. The theme of today's event is India at 75 and catalyzing change for new India. Because India, after independence, will be 75, I think in August this year. 47 is the independence, so 2022, 75 years. So I think one of the things I would like to start off by mentioning is about, क्योंकि हम लोग अभी स्टार्टअप्स के बारे में बहुत सुनते हैं. स्टार्टअप्स के बगैर आजकल तो एक न्यूज़पेपर में एक दिन भी कोई ना कोई आर्टिकल तो छापता ही है हर दिन. Every day there is a news about some startup becoming a unicorn or unicorn or decacorn or whatever other corns there are, sweet corns, I don't know. There are a bunch of things that keep popping up every so often. So let me talk about the most successful startup in 75 years of independent India. That is the state of Telangana. And the reason why I say this is not because I represent the government of Telangana, but because the numbers actually speak for themselves. 7 years ago, my friend Sarita, who's sitting here, 7.5 years ago, who's a captain of the industry, had hosted a dinner, or we had met at a dinner where almost 100 or 150 businessmen and women were present. So she, as a son of the soil, as a daughter of the soil, asked me a pointed question. This was not when the TRS had won the mandate. This was much before. No. You were right in asking. About 8 years ago, I think it was. This was at a friend's place. We had all met for dinner, about 100, 150 of us. People who were concerned, people who were worried, people who were anxious as to what would happen when the bill would get passed in the parliament and when the new state of Telangana would come into being. Sarita being Sarita, for those of you who know, she doesn't hesitate to speak her mind. So she asked me point blank onto my face. She said, तुम लोग लड़ तो रहे हो तेलंगाना के लिए, but what is it that you guys are trying to accomplish by dividing Telugus? तुम लोग क्या करना क्या चाह रहे हो? This is what she said. So I told her, listen, this is actually for the benefit of the people of both Telugu-speaking states eventually. This would help all of us. This would expedite development. This would bring more prosperity. This would spread, in fact, infrastructure growth in all pockets as opposed to, concentrated development in certain pockets, etc., etc. Of course, she was not convinced. But today I'm going to possibly talk about, now you're convinced. Thank you, Sarita. So today I'm going to tell you why you should possibly be convinced. In exactly 7.5 years in Telangana, when we started our journey, I'll just give you 3 numbers. The first thing is our per capita income. When we started our journey in 2014 in June, 2nd of June 2014, the per capita income of the state of Telangana was 1,24,000 rupees. And today, 7.5 years later, and this is not me, these numbers are not mine. These numbers are of the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, Government of India. According to them, the per capita income of Telangana today is 2,78,000 rupees. A growth of 125% from 1,24,000 to 2,78,000 rupees. And the other number I'll share with you. The GSDP, the size of the GSDP, the gross state domestic product, back in 2014 June, was 5 lakh crores, Telangana, 4.9 lakh crores to be precise. And today, again, according to Government of India statistics, the current GSDP size of the state of Telangana is 11.54 lakh crores, 130% growth. This goes to show you how the state has been able to do exceedingly well in terms of all indicators. The other interesting statistic I would like to put forward, and I have to correct Mr. Bagla here. Mr. Bagla said, Deepak ji, आपने कहा कि हम लोग छठे हैं rank में, contribution towards Indian economy. Sir, RBI would like to differ, not me. The Reserve Bank of India has released a report, a book of statistics in October 2021, and they have clearly stated that Telangana is the 4th largest contributor to Indian economy. We are 11th largest in terms of geographical size. We are 12th largest in terms of population, but we are the 4th largest in terms of contribution. Ahead of us are 3 very large states: West Bengal, Karnataka, and I think Maharashtra. So I would like to correct you there, sir. And this is not me again, Reserve Bank of India. In fact, just to put things in perspective, our population in India as a state is 2.5%. But our contribution to GDP of India is 5%. So that is literally Telangana punching above its weight. Double the size, in fact. So that goes to show you why I call Telangana the most successful startup of independent India. Our Honorable Chief Minister, in fact, is a firm believer, Shri KCR Garu is a firm believer in getting the basics right, in getting the fundamentals right. While, it's easy to talk about emerging technologies, it's fanciful to talk about all the cool things that are happening all over the world, the hyperloops and other things of the world. It's easy, it's all nice talk, but I think a country like India, which is still a developing nation, should get its basics sorted. So therefore, when we started our journey, we went with the 3I mantra: innovation, infrastructure, inclusive growth. That's exactly what we focused on in the last 7.5 years. Now, what do I mean by innovation? Innovation in today's world is often misconstrued as being, disruption in the technology area, startups, etc., etc. But innovation can happen on many, many fronts. I was amused to hear Krishna when he said big companies cannot innovate. I beg to differ, Krishna. In fact, even big companies, can innovate, should innovate if they have to, they want to sustain, if they want to remain around. Because otherwise, you lose your edge, you basically lose your mojo, and you are gone in no time. Because if you think about it, 20 years back, Yahoo was a big name. Today not, and I think each of us in this room, or most of us in this room, the younger lot may not remember that, but most of us in this room had a Yahoo account. I did too. Now I don't even remember my password, because I don't use it anymore. It's lost its relevance, and now we have so many other things that have come up and so many other things that have just, eclipsed Yahoo and other behemoths of the early 2000s. That's the point I'm trying to make. Unless you reinvent yourself, unless you rediscover yourself, unless you reorient yourself to the changing times, changing demands, changing markets, any big company would not survive. The fact that GSK, the fact that all the big companies of the world still continue to be relevant in spite of the onslaught from Krishna Ella and his team means that they are doing something right. If not everything, they must be doing something right. The point I'm trying to make is invention, innovation is not confined to startups or technology alone. Even governments should innovate. And that's exactly what we have done with our policy making. Mr. Bagla just spoke about how Telangana's industrial policies leagues ahead of anybody else. That is because our Honorable Chief Minister in this very room sat for 7 hours with the industry bodies, tried to understand in the very initial days of government. He said, let me sit with you, understand the pain points. Let me understand how I can make a difference. And in 2014, July, I think it was, there was a meeting held in this room. And by 2014 November, Telangana came out with its first legislation That is the Telangana State Industrial Project Approval Self-Certification System, the TS-IPASS. Now, it's like the easy pass, that you would run into in the US. TS-IPASS has been extremely successful. And in case you're wondering, how do you say something successful? We have given out more than 18,000 clearances. We've been able to attract more than 2.3 lakh crores of investment. And we've been able to create a direct job potential of 1.6 million jobs. This is something that is truly amazing for a new state in India. And this growth, the numbers that I just reeled out, is all despite several things. It's despite the bifurcation blues, because the new state has to settle in. There are still issues to be tackled with the other state, with our brother state, or sister state, as you would like to call it. We have still some issues to settle. The bifurcation blues are still, in some areas at least, they're still there. This is despite the fact that there was demonetization, which affected all of us, which affected the growth of states, districts, countries, the entire country as such, industries also. And this despite the pandemic. 2 years of pandemic, and still Telangana, in fact, as was pointed out by Mr. Bagla, even if you look at an average, it's more than 13%. And if this same growth trajectory continues, then we would certainly be at that magical $470 billion or $500 billion, I think he was referring to. We'd be there by 2030, which is a humongous contribution to India's economy, if you ask me. Innovation was not confined to industrial clearances alone. Innovation was also brought in other spheres of life, such as municipal administration. How we give clearances to the industries in 15 days, and if you do not deliver in the 15-day window, how it is a deemed approval on the 16th day, was also replicated by municipal department. We asked the municipal department also to study how building permissions are given. So today in Telangana, I proudly say as Minister for Urban Development, we are the only state which can promise clearances in 21 days for any layout or a building approval. If we don't deliver on the 21-day window, on the 22nd day, without you having to meet any official, it's a deemed approval. In fact, for plots of less than 500 square meters, the approval is instant. It's self-certification. No state in India will tell you this. So this is the sort of innovation Telangana has made. Innovation in Panchayati Raj and rural development. The new act that we brought in for village development is something truly unique. I don't think there is any state in the country which said 10% of the budget from the village Panchayati or the municipal body has to be earmarked for greenery. 10% of your budget is green budget. And the new act also espouses, also makes it very, very clear that the village sarpanch or the municipal councillor or the municipal chairperson or the panchayati secretary can lose their job and will lose their job if they do not ensure 85% survival of the plants that have been planted in their respective domains. I don't think any government in India has done this. Now that is the innovation I'm talking about. Innovation does not have to confine itself to cool technologies. Innovation is about impacting the society in a positive way. And that's what I'm saying. Governments can innovate, others also can innovate. And when I say the 3I mantra, innovation, infrastructure is the second I. On the infrastructure front, why Telangana has grown is because we have spent lots of money. We spent extensive money on ramping up our infrastructure. We were a power deficit state when we started our journey. We had an installed capacity of 7,000 megawatts. Today our installed capacity of power is more than 16,000 megawatts and more than doubled in the last 7.5 years. We spent lots of money on that. That is why Telangana is able to provide quality power supply to industry, to households, and also to agriculture. We are the only state in the country, in fact, that provides 24/7 free power to small and marginal farmers. Again, you would not hear this from any other state in India. Infrastructure not only in power, drinking water. We are the only state in the country which had completed, a project which had, the laying of 140,000 kilometers of pipeline. A project called as Mission Bhagirath, which is aimed at providing a portable drinking water connection to each and every one of the 10 million homes, 1 crore households in Telangana. A unique project where we spent nearly $7 billion has been completed, and today Government of India has drawn inspiration from us and has started what is called as Har Ghar Jal, a new program which they are asking other states also to emulate. Infrastructure is not, again, only on power and drinking water, but also in irrigation. You know, I don't know how many of you in this room know this. The world's largest lift irrigation project, the world's largest, not India's largest, the world's largest lift irrigation project has been conceptualized and has been completed by the government of Telangana in less than 4 years of time. Now, we often talk about Chinese execution. We often talk about how things move fast in China. But the new state of Telangana, the youngest state in India, has shown to the rest of the country